hard to capture, extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a convict and start killing. It's manifesting. The gods work like appliances, dealing in my psyche.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another discussion for Boruto chapter 46, and I think it's now time that we need to have the very serious conversation about Kashin Koji's identity and whether or not Naruto actually knows who he is, because those of you guys who read the chapter know that there was a moment in the chapter where all signs began to point to this. So with that being said, if you are an anime only fan, I highly recommend that you click off this video, because I am going to be talking about some major bombshells. Like, this would be in the line of thinking, in my opinion, if you go back to the war arc and somebody spoiled for you that Toby was Obito. I would highly recommend clicking off this video, because this has the potential to be that big of a reveal. So with all of that being said, let's go ahead and get into the chapter discussion. So you guys already know where I stand on the Kashin Koji identity. I've been kind of beating this drum. A deal changed my mind probably, I would say a year and a half ago. A deal changed my mind because I was a staunch Kashin Koji is not Jiraiya type person, and talked to a deal on Discord, and you know, my opinion began to slowly change. He and I made a couple videos on that, and I've made videos independently on it. So I'm not gonna beat that into the ground. I'm not gonna beat any of that in the ground, because you guys know my stance. I think it's a cyborg, or I think that it's a clone made out of Jiraiya's DNA with cyborg enhancements. That's why Kashin Koji said that he was created. So you guys know where I'm at on that. But Naruto, his reaction when he saw Kashin Koji fighting, whether it be the fire style jutsu, using the dark earth swamp jutsu, which is a signature jutsu that Jiraiya uses in battle. That's the first, well, not the first, but that's one of the first jutsu that we saw him use when he was fighting against Orochimaru in the Tsunade, Search of Tsunade arc. And you know, he's using the toads to fight. A lot of the mannerisms are starting to come off a little similar, and Naruto picks up on it. And I don't necessarily know if they're gonna reveal that to be Jiraiya, but I know some people are saying like, okay, they're kind of moving in that direction. And if that's the direction they're gonna take it, they're gonna take the direction of Kashin Koji being Jiraiya, or somebody that reminds Naruto very strongly of Jiraiya. I think there's a very human element that I think went over a lot of people's heads, so I'm gonna go ahead and talk about that now. The thing is, it's like by doing that tease right there, and in particular the way that Naruto's face was drawn and the way that he's saying the way that this guy fights is just like, and you have that moment where Naruto has the sweat drops on his face. You know, this is interesting, because myself and others leading up to this chapter said Naruto's reaction when he sees Kashin Koji is gonna be telling. It's gonna be very telling. If Naruto watches that fight and he recognizes some of the movements, then we need to prepare ourselves for Naruto having a meltdown. It makes perfect sense for Naruto to jump to that conclusion, because he spent 3 weeks training with Jiraiya to learn the Rasengan. I know technically he mastered the final stage in a week, but the whole process of Rasengan took just over three weeks, because in the manga you have this moment where after Naruto's already learned the first step of using the Rasengan, you have this moment where Jiraiya refers to the conflict with Itachi as being 2 weeks ago. That's so you get 3 weeks going into 4 weeks as far as for the Rasengan. What I will say about this is that Naruto was around Jiraiya during that time. He was around him for almost 3 years, because it wasn't a full 3-year training period. It wasn't a full 3. It was very close to 3, but it wasn't a full 3 years. And the thing about that is, when you're around somebody that much and you love somebody that much, when you love somebody that much, and I can talk from personal experience, you know how they walk, you know how they talk, you know the small things. And those of you guys who have never loved anybody more than you love yourself, and I'm gonna get personal for a second, if you've never loved anybody more than you love yourself, you won't be able to relate to this. But you notice even the small things on how somebody breathes. You notice the way that they breathe, the pattern in which they breathe. You notice little small things like on how they chew their food and everything, how they handle certain things, when they pick certain things up. You notice the look in their eyes when they start to get upset and they're trying to hide it. You notice the smallest details, how they raise their hand to pick up a glass or something like that. And it's because you're so in tune with them. And those of you guys who know my personal story, you know exactly where that's going from. You know, I've lost quite a few people that I care about in the time since I did Kryptonian Saiyan, the year they got shut down, to even now with Naruto Explained. I've lost people that I love. So when I saw Naruto reacting in that way, I totally understood what they were trying to go for. I totally understood, because especially when that loss is still fresh, you look at certain things and your mind plays tricks on you. And I think that that could be a situation here where Naruto's mind's playing tricks on him. Now, Jiraiya's loss is not fresh. However, when it's somebody you love that much, I can tell you from experience, you don't ever stop thinking about them. They're always in the back of your mind somewhere. In the back of your mind, they're somewhere in your subconscious. You're thinking about them. Even when you don't realize you're thinking about them, there'll be something that spurs a thought to where all of a sudden your mind gravitates over towards them. And so to have Naruto take that stance where Naruto, as he's watching the fight, Naruto begins to seemingly make that connection to Jiraiya. Now, if it doesn't end up being Jiraiya, I'm still gonna say it's good writing. If it ends up being some variation of Jiraiya, I'm gonna defend it, because it's little small nods like that to where I understand from a writing perspective how they're trying to hammer home that emotion. Because, you know, even when you go back to Jiraiya's death, that feeling of numbness that Naruto had, Masashi Kishimoto handled that very well in the manga, where you have Naruto where he's just got this dead expression. He's walking through the village. You don't know exactly how his body's feeling, but anybody that's went through loss knows that feeling where in the left part of your chest things feel really tight, where your heart is. They know the feeling of your arms and your legs feeling numb. You realize you're walking, but you don't know how you're actually walking, and when you sit down you just feel tired. Naruto was so tired in that moment, he couldn't even bring himself to eat the damn popsicle. He was just crying because he's grieving. And in the time after that, that feeling still sticks with you to a certain extent. Even when you go through the 7 stages of grief, that person's memory is still with you. And so to have all this coming back like this was the thing I was worried about most when it came to this chapter. I even made a video going into the chapter saying like Naruto's upcoming heartbreak. I wanted to discuss that possibility because I understand. And maybe that was me projecting a little bit. But I've seen other people like For Neverworld talk about it. I know For Neverworld's been through some stuff. You know, he lost the mother of his child. So maybe For Neverworld was in a similar situation as me where he projected a little bit. But I've also seen other YouTubers talk about it. And it's one of those things where this is one of those times where art is imitating life. And so this would be really good if it ends up going either way, because you had that moment where Naruto's guard completely shattered. Now the only thing is on this is, are we in a situation now? Are we in a situation now to where this is gonna be something that's explored? If this is the route they're gonna take, I'm 120% okay with it. However, those are really my thoughts on this, guys. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.